Hey, what's up, Zwifters? Welcome back to No Breakaways, your source for all the Zwift racing tips and tricks. We're here to preview week number 4 of the second season of ZRL on the Harrogate UCI World Circuit. Going to be another really fun one. We did this one last year, so we're going to recycle some of that, but I also updated the times. I updated what I think is going to happen in the KOM. We'll talk a little bit more about the intermediate. And maybe most importantly, I actually have a race of this, so you'll be able to see some of the video from that race. Maybe it'll give you a better idea of how to approach some of the hills on this course, because as we know, it's a lot of up and down. All right, here we go again. 2019 Harrogate UCI World Circuit. We have 2 laps totaling 27.8 kilometers, 489 meters of elevation gain. The Zwift Hub view shows us a lot of up and down. You're pretty much always going up or always going down the entire way. It is a fun course. It's a punchy course. Lots of chances for 2 super tucks, but you have to make sure that you aren't getting dropped from your group on any one of these climbs. So right out of the gates, we have a really long climb. In Zwift Power, it's named Harlow Hill. Eric in Zwift Insider called it Otley Road. I don't know what the real name is. I labeled it as Harlow Hill. But that's going to be a big selection point right at the start of the race, about 0.4 kilometers in. We'll get to all those points later, but something to really watch out for. Also, the Yorkshire Kom is a really tough one. We all know that's a big selection point, and we're going to talk a little bit about how I like to ride it and some different strategies. Again, taking a look at the intermediate points, same as they've been for the scratch races this year. The first across the line, 10 points for first place, 1 point for 10th place in just descending order. And the fastest through segment, first place gets 20, second place 15, third 10, fourth gets 7, and then 6, 5, 4, all the way down through 10th place. The first across the line bonuses are just whoever crosses the line first, and the fastest through segments are whoever goes the fastest on that segment, not necessarily who wins the segment. So there are different strategies for both of these and how you set those times. So the intermediate points are at the Yorkshire KOM and the Yorkshire Sprint. So about 10K in is when the Yorkshire KOM starts. This is a hard hill. It's going to be really tough, and it'll be interesting to see how people play it. In the first season, there weren't really any points through the top there. I mean, it didn't really matter in the end placing, so I didn't see too many people just bombing it. This season, though, people may be incentivized to go all out on that hill, and that's just their whole race, and then they're not worried about it after that. So it'll be interesting to see how teams play it. The KOM versus the finishing times and finishing points. Here are the Harrogate feature distances. So this is basically the feature on the left and then where they are in each lap, so you can kind of prepare. So Harlow Hill, or the Otley Road climb, it's 1.6 kilometers long. On lap 1, you'll find it at 0.4 kilometers in. So again, you need to really, really warm up for that one. And in lap 2, 14.4. Fields Hill, not that tough a climb. One you can definitely draft. It's 0.9 kilometers long, comes at 5.5 kilometers and 19.6. The forward climb, so the KOM, comes at 7.7 and 21.7 kilometers. And the sprint will come at 11.2 and 25.2 kilometers. Okay, here we go. The race is about to start. This is a mixed category race, which I didn't realize. So you'll see a lot of people around, some really good racers in there. When you come out of the pens, you're going to take a right. You're going to go under the start-finish banner that starts your lap. And 0.4 kilometers from here, we start up Harlow Hill. So let's skip to that. So here we go. You take this right, and you're starting up Harlow Hill, or the Otley Road climb. It is a very tough climb. It is a draftable climb, but this is a place where you can definitely make a break, and the first selection will be made. You need to be really, really, really warmed up. I was not warmed up enough for this race, frankly. I mean, you can see me dropping an Aero helmet there. Power-ups going all over the place. Just be absolutely super warmed up, ready to go. Stick in that draft and just get up this climb as best you can. It really makes the start of this race hurt. After this, you will be able to get a super tuck, and you go back up another hill. It's pretty straightforward, but so right here is the start of the Fields Hill. Again, it's not a huge climb. It's only about 0.9 kilometers long. A lot of it's draftable. But it is another selection point and a place you really need to be careful. You can see people starting to really push in the race here. I expect that'll happen with your race too. And coming so close after the first climb, it's really going to hurt. And, just another place where, depending on team tactics, this may be a place you want to make a move on the first or second lap. So here's the Velo Viewer look at the Yorkshire Kom, 1.2 kilometers, 5.5% grade. It's a tough hill, but certainly a manageable one. There is a little bit of strategy in the center that we'll go over in more detail, where you can get a little bit rest and charge the back half of this hill. It's what I personally really like to do, is basically fade climb the first half and try to charge up the second half. So the expected times up this climb, taking them from season 1 of the ZRL, I couldn't go back like I wanted to in all the results because they were so far back I couldn't get to them. But I did take what I saw in the Americas A races and extrapolate those to what we see overall. So for the Cat A men, we're looking 155 to 205 at 7.2 watts per kg. The Cat A women, 215 to 225 at 6 watts. Cat B, 215 to 230. Cat C, 240 to 255. And Cat D, 335 to 410. I will say, depending on a strategy, if one person from a team was going to sacrifice herself and try to get the fastest through time, you may see those times maybe drop by about 5 seconds on the front end. And so keep that in mind. But that would be a very, very, very hard effort, and that would probably end that person's race, most likely. So it'll be interesting to see if anybody does that. And the other note is that Cat D, almost everybody I saw from last season in the ZRL and Cat D who is leading these packs upgraded. So I had to kind of derate some of those times, and that's why you see such a big window there for Cat D. I'm not really sure, honestly, what it's going to be there. But, like any other cat, expect it to be hard. So here we are coming down the hill into the forward KOM. You want to really keep your speed up. I actually do a pretty bad job here, and it caused me to have to spike my watts. I'd rather be coming through this pack, get out to the front of the pack so I can fade climb the first part of this climb. You can see it shoots right up to 7%. And you see people going off the front, and I'm having to put out 450, 400 watts when, really I would have rather just rolled up to the front like this and been able to fade climb. I'm obviously pushing it pretty hard. We will all watch this whole climb. I want to talk about the center of it, though, because the way I prefer to ride this climb is to go a little bit easier on the start and fade climb it. So there you see me kind of dropping back to this pack. They really picked it up. But I like to ride the first part of this relatively easy and the second part hard and pick up some places. I think the second half is really a good place to attack. So let's fast forward to there, and we'll talk through that. So a lot of people go way too hard in the first part of that climb, and you'll see them in that little flat section that I just went over. You'll see them, their power kind of drop afterwards. And you see me now putting in a dig, and I'm starting to really catch up to groups. If you fall off a pack and want to catch up to a group, this is a really good place to do it. And if you want to put a move in on the field, I feel like trying to conserve your energy that first half of the hill. You go in that flat part, you catch just a little tiny bit of a break, and then hammer up the rest of this hill is a really good strategy. And this is a course where, in theory, you may be able to get a break going if you went super hard over the hill. I don't know if it will happen in practice. I know personally that I had lost groups over the top of this hill and found it pretty hard to catch back up in the Super Tuck, harder than I would have expected, say, like in Innsbruck, like in our last week. So, yeah, that's pretty much the hill. You see the finish line there, and make sure you keep your power up over the top of this. It is a flat on the top. And if you get gapped by 5 meters on the top, it's really hard, like right here, to kind of get back in over this hill, because it just is kind of a slow one. So you can see I don't know if I catch that group in front of me or if I have to put in a big dig, but I'd much rather be trying to super tuck right now. So we'll skip to the sprint next and then the finish, and that'll be the course. So there is a pretty long climb leading up to the sprint. And again, this is an interesting point. The sprint is kind of around a couple corners here. And you see the sprint point start right there. But, you know, if you really wanted to try to make a break and maybe get the first across the line bonus, you could hammer right at the end of that hill and see if you can get away. People are not really going to want to be going all out on this part. And, you know, you see over there, the fastest times are 20 seconds. It's going to be hard to get the fastest through on this because it is a really long sprint and it comes after a climb. So it'll be super interesting to see the tactics that people use and how hard people go. And that is a place where I think you might be able to win the sprint with like a late attack on that hill, just like that guy up in front of our little group did. You know, you see he went clear and no one really wanted to chase him because we were all tired. So I skipped the last lap of this race. Again, it was 3 laps, so ignore the kilometers up there. We're coming into downtown Harrogate. Thank you for whoever corrected me on that. You take this left-hand turn. It's pretty flat, but when you take that right-hander up there, it goes up a hill. And a lot of people want to make a break up that hill, and they really push. And it's way too early to go. You're going to see the blob catch anybody or any small group who tries to sprint going up this hill. Of course, you have to ride it hard. You have to stay in the blob, but you know, you see people really push. They're dropping feathers. They're thinking they're going to make a big break, and it just never seems to work. If you look at all the ZRL races from last time, the Premier League races, you just don't see anybody get away. So you want to leave this sprint a little bit later than you normally leave it. You know, I don't know if I do it right here or not, but you know, you see people's, you know, start bringing those guys back. So you want to start sprinting probably right around here, right around where that guy just came around me. And you see a bunch of people coming around me. I went a little too early, but people just don't have the legs to close this sprint out. You'll see in a lot of cases. So make sure that you are really getting after it a little bit early, and that's the course for this week. So my expected times, again, I had to pull this from the Americas A division, and I kind of extrapolated for what I expected in Europe and Asia. The Cat A men, probably 36 to 37 minutes, 4.4 watts per kilo. It was quite a bit faster than what I predicted last time, so I adjusted all these times. The Cat A women, 30 to 42 minutes at 4.2. The Cat B riders, 40 to 40 minutes. These riders were quite a bit faster than I expected last time. And so really the faster times there are going to be the men, and you would expect the women to be a little bit slower. It must be some sort of weight thing. I'm not really sure. But so you would expect the Cat B women to be maybe 42 minutes on the high end of the Cat A. I don't really have any data for y'all, unfortunately. I apologize. There's just not a lot there for me to try to extrapolate. Cat C, 43 minutes to 45 at 3.2. And Cat D, like I talked about before, the data was all skewed. There were people riding like 45 minutes before, but they were way over Cat limits. So I think it's going to be 50 to 55. There might be some faster ones depending on who's in your race and what they can actually put out. But I think for the people that'll end up staying in Cat D, 50 to 55 minutes is what I would expect. Let's hop over to Eric for the bike recommendations.
Hey Zwifters, Eric with Zwift Insider here. We're looking at bike recommendations for the UCI Harrogate Worlds course. This is an interesting course in terms of bike choice and just in terms of racing it, because it is rarely flat. It's very lumpy. But at the same time, none of the climbs are steep and or long enough for a lightweight bike to really make a difference. The interesting thing, if you look at some of the top performers in terms of Aero Bikes on this route, in terms of race bikes really, the top performers would be maybe the Tron bike and the S-Works Venge with the disc wheel set. That's what you see a lot of racers racing. Those two setups turn in the exact same lap time on this route. But the Tron bike is actually about a second faster up the KOM, the key climb on this route, about a 3-minute climb, about a second faster than the S-Works with the discs, which means the S-Works with the discs is faster on the descents and the flats than the Tron. So where do you want your advantage? Do you want it on the climb, or do you want it on the descents and the flats? Most people are going to choose the climb, which makes the Tron bike the most obvious choice here. So if you don't have the Tron bike, the next best option for high-level Zwifters would be a good fast frame like the S-Works Venge, the Cervelo S5, one of those real slippery frames. Couple that with either the NB 7.8 wheels, which are decent climbing wheels but also very aero, or the Zip 858 wheels. Those will give you decent climbing performance as well, and are quite aero but not quite as heavy as the discs. If you're not up at those high levels and you don't have access to those top level frames and wheels, go with the Canyon Aero 2021. This is an excellent all-arounder frame, good climber, good aero performance. Couple that with the DT Swiss Arc 62 wheels, which are available at a nice low level for a good price, and that'll be a good all-arounder rig. You could also put the Zip 808 wheels on there. Those will perform well also. That's going to be a tough race. I'll see you guys out there. I will hope to hang in the front as long as I can, but it is going to be a challenge. So we'll see you in Yorkshire. Good luck, everybody. Ride on.
All right, Zwifters, that's it. Harrogate UCI Circuit. Good luck to everyone this week. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please click like and subscribe below, and I'll see you next time.